Dr. Algalves explains how we might use jealousy as a positive outcome.
What's the use of jealousy? What's the message from jealousy that could be helpful? What do you think? Well, I thought about it, jealousy tells us what we want and don't have, right? When I get jealous, it's basically telling me that's what I want that, and I don't have it, which is a really good thing to know. It's good to know what I want and don't have, because it can help me go get it, or at least try to get it. I want that. I'm jealous of people who have a lot of success as writers and speakers and that kind of thing. I still am. It's just horrible. But it does tell me what I want. So I'd like to just briefly tell you a little bit about the research that suggests that it's really good to be able to experience these emotions. The first kind of research is work that was done by a man named Antonio Damasio. He's a medical researcher, and he studied people who, because of lesions in their brains, couldn't process emotions. They had lesions in the amygdala, which is the part of the brain that processes emotions. He studied those people, and what he found was that because they couldn't experience their feelings, they couldn't use their rational function either. They couldn't use their reasoning powers. So that, for instance, they would buy a stock. The stock would be going down, but they wouldn't feel bad, so they wouldn't sell it. Or they'd be in a relationship. The relationship really wasn't good for them, but they wouldn't feel bad, so they wouldn't do anything about it. And what he learned that is if you can't feel bad, if you can't process emotions, you can't use your reasoning powers, because you can't correct mistakes. You can't do what's in your interest to do. And when you hear that, you say, well, sure, what else is new? But it's just an interesting thing about this organism. It doesn't work well if you don't have the ability to put the mind and the body together, the emotions and the thoughts together. The second example is some research that's been done by a man named James Pennebaker. And he has done this research many, many times with the same result. He works with students and he gives them a writing assignment. Half of the students get assigned to write about the most emotionally painful thing in their lives. And the other half are assigned to write about what they're going to do next summer, where they're going to graduate school, the environmental crisis, something that doesn't have anything to do with them. They write for 30 minutes a day for 3 days in a row, and then for 6 weeks they do blood samples and they pay attention to how often these people go to the medical clinic. And in every case, every time this has ever been done, the students who are writing about the most emotionally painful things in their lives have stronger immune function, and they go to the health center less. So somehow or other, there's something healthy about doing this, about writing about very emotionally troubling experiences, painful experiences. And they don't know why this is true. It could be because of the release, a certain amount of catharsis, or it could be because what they've noticed is, the researchers noticed that when you read what people write, who are writing about the emotional, painful experiences, each time they write, it makes more sense. They are able to make more sense out of it, fit it into their lives, and somehow integrate it into who they are. And maybe that's what happens. If you re-experience trauma, it can be re-traumatizing, and you have to be careful, but it also can be a way of making sense out of it and using it in some way. The third example I can give you in research is a study that was done of medical students, and they divided these medical students into 5 groups based on how they expressed emotion or didn't express emotion. And the group that presented a very bland exterior to the world, didn't show their emotions, pretty much repressed their emotions, that group was 16 times more likely to get cancer. Than the group that was out there, spontaneous, not trying to control their emotions, more free with their emotions. And it makes sense to me because when you're under a stress response, essentially your immune system doesn't work because all of your energy is going to your heart, your brain, and your muscles. And you are armed for action, and your immune system doesn't work. Well, that's fine if it lasts for 12 hours, you know, or a day. But if it lasts for 2 months, your immune system is seriously compromised, and you're very likely to get some bad kind of disease. So I think that's what happens there. Okay. So that's research, and there's also other research that shows that essentially it's healthy to experience these emotions and use them.